Good morning, Charlie, or good afternoon, or good evening over there in New Zealand. Number 2, cooking lessons. Your sister's coming over tonight and has requested meatballs. So we're going to do meatballs in a tomato sauce, and it's quite simple. You're going to need some sausages, which we're going to put the sausage meat out of, some mince, an egg, an onion, pepper, salt and pepper, some parsley, some lazy garlic, some chilies and crackers, and tomato puree. Now this is a recipe from Delia Smith from many years ago. You'll recognise it, but I'll send a photograph over on WhatsApp to you so you can follow it. So I'm going to do some prep now. I'm going to chop up the onion, chop up the pepper. We're going to use half of each into that bowl. Then we're going to put the meat in, sausage meat in. We're going to add a whisked egg. We're going to break up all these crackers into tiny little pieces. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And a few other bits and bobs, and then we're going to mince it all up together and then start making some meatballs, which we will then fry off in that pan. When the meatballs are fried off, we will take the meatballs out, put them to one side, and then we'll make up a sauce, which is pretty much the same as what we did in the last lesson. So it's like a bolognese sauce. So I need to make sure that I've got everything I need here. Yes, got some tomatoes, so that's spot on. Right, I'll put you down for a minute and I'll do some prep. Okay, so like we did before, we're going to chop up the onion, but we're going to dice it up into much smaller pieces because half of it's going to be used in the meatball mixture, and the same with the pepper. That into the recycling, chop it in half, we'll put that to one side, and then we're going to just chop it up like that, round your fingers, nice sharp knife, dice it all up into much smaller pieces than we normally do. Here we go. That can go into the bowl. Like so. Ugh, strong onion, making me cry. And then the same with the pepper, half. That's about it. And we'll put that to one side because we'll be using that for the sauce later. And again, we'll chop this up in a similar way that we've done to the onions. Dice it up the best we can. Just keep going while it's in nice small pieces. And I'll chuck all this in the bowl as well. Trying to avoid throwing it all over the floor. Take, I think, 3 sausages. I'm just going to squeeze the sausage meat out of these into the bowl so that you're not putting the skin in. That can go in recycling. That's good there. Same with this one. Squeeze all the meat out. Messy job this. You'd be washing your hands a lot. There we go, that one, and the final one. So 3 good sized sausages should sort you out nicely. And then we're going to get the minced beef. This is 500 grams. Chuck that on top, like so. Put that up to one side. I'm going to wash my hands a minute, and then we'll make up the mixture that we're going to put in to bind everything together. Now I'm going to have to check the recipe on this one. Oh yes. So crackers, we want them to be in nice small crumbs. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can do it like I'm doing in a plastic bag with a rolling pin and smash it all up. If you haven't got a plastic bag, get a clean tea towel and put the crackers in the tea towel, fold it over, and then find something to bash it with. What have we got in here for bashing? Ah, perfect. That'll do for bashing. Not sure if you'll have a rolling pin, but if you can't find a rolling pin, something just reasonably heavy. What this does, it helps combine all the meat together and all the other bits and bobs, so that you don't have everything falling apart. So very handy. Right, we now need to yes, okay. So right, we're going to put in some garlic. We'll put the garlic in just about that much, half a teaspoon-ish. That can go straight in. We're going to keep this out because we're going to need it for the sauce as well. I'm going to put in some tomato puree, just a good dollop of that. A little dollop of secret ingredient, ketchup. Some parsley, about that much. No, maybe a bit more. Some chilies from the South Devon chili farm, just a pinch, just to give it a bit of excitement. Hopefully Sophie will like that. Some pepper, and a bit of salt. Now we need our egg. So we're just going to crack that into that bowl there. Just beat it up. Like so. Pour that in. And this is where we get our hands dirty. Now, tip for the top. If you don't want to get it stuck all over your hands, make sure your hands are wet when you're rolling it. I need the pan here. I'm going to put a bit of oil in that pan, and then I'm just going to transfer everything over as we're going. You should get about 12 decent size meatballs out of this. Olive oil. Olive oil in the pan, like so. And here we go, we're going to dive in. See everything there? dive in and just get it all mixed up. You want to mix it up really, really well. Once it's all mixed up and combined, then we'll go and wet our hands and start making the meatballs. You just want to keep working it, get everything in. So you want to combine all these lovely flavours together. Keep turning it over. You've got a nice mixture there. Hope you can see that. Now, the idea is we take a lump of this, and we'll do the hand thing first, just put a bit of water on. There we go. And you just want to roll it around to about that size, so just about the size of a golf ball, that sort of size. You want to keep them reasonably small. If they're too big, they won't cook properly. Although we are going to put these, once we've braised these off, we're going to make up the tomato sauce mixture as we did last time, and we'll put that in the oven with the meatballs for 45 minutes and then a further 15 minutes with the lid off. Right, I'm going to carry on doing this. I'll switch the camera off for a sec. Here we go then. So it does get a bit boring, so try not to make them too big. These are all sort of different sizes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Wow. So we're going to cook these off in batches. So just put it on the hob and get it all nice and hot. And once they're nice and brown, what we'll do is put them into this. Then we're going to make our tomato sauce in this, because there'll be all sorts of good stuff in the pan, from the onions and the peppers and the bits of meat, and then we'll make up the sauce with that. And we'll cut up the rest of this. So yeah, it's literally just get a spatula, if I can find one. There it is, or wooden one, and just keep moving them around so that they brown up nicely. They're just sizzling away nicely now. Whilst that's been coming up to heat, just leave those there for a sec. Whilst that's been coming up to heat, I've done the other half the pepper, half the onion, and then we're just going to make up a little mixture like we did the other day. If I can find something to put it in, that will do. And again, we're just going to put in a little bit of ketchup, no chilies because it's Sophie, but you can put chilies in, you know, Soph doesn't like them. We'll put the parsley back in here, and we should have Italian herbs. So we'll put some of that in. So we'll just add it all into there, so a dollop of everything, and then you can mix that up. Let's see if I can put you down. Let's see what happens. Bit of ketchup, secret ingredients, good dollop of herbs, and get that nice and tasty. Back to the garlic. Again, your preference really on this, but about that much. Sort of just over half a teaspoon. I'm going to put in a load of puree. Just a dollop of that. Bit of salt. Bit of pepper. We'll whiz it up like that, and then that's ready to make our tomato based dish. Okay, back to here. Yeah, they're browning up nicely. Keep moving around. You have to be reasonably gentle because what you don't want is them to start falling apart. Pretty much once you've got all of the meat pretty much cooked, don't forget it's still going to go into there for an hour, into the oven. So you just want to braise it off a little bit. So that's our first batch. Just transfer those into that pan. And then we can go on to our next batch. And I'm going to do all of these. Get them all done. Like that. Let those cook up. And then we'll be on to our tomato based sauce. And again, you can cook this, you can either do it with some spaghetti or just some pasta. I think we're going to go for spaghetti tonight, so that'll be quite nice. So I won't bore you, I'll just get these braised up. You do the same, get them all into that pan, and then we'll go on to do the tomato sauce. See you in a moment. Right, they're pretty much there. I mean, it's not the most brilliantly presented food, but it is good home cooking, and it's good food after you've been on the tractors all day, you and Adam. So you can get stuck into this, and if there's any left over, you can have it the following day. We'll take it for lunch. Right, so that's in there. Right, now what we're going to do is we'll have a dollop of olive oil. We'll put in our peppers and onions. So just soften these up. You don't want to burn them. You just want to soften it, so when everything's nice and soft, keep breaking it up like that. Then we'll add in the tin of tomatoes, and then we'll pour it all over the meatballs. And that reminds me, we'll put the oven on. I'm going to go for about 160 for the oven, so it's 160 degrees. And we're going to put it in there for 45 minutes, but with the lid on. And then about 25 minutes with the lid off. And what that will do then, it will just really make it all nice and crusty, as it were, on the top. So here we go. The tomatoes there. These are very finely chopped tomatoes, I've just noticed. So you must have been buying expensive stuff, but any chopped tomatoes will do. And then don't forget, we've got our little concoction that we made up there. We want to put all that in like that. That gives it all a nice tastiness. Nothing worse than having a bland tomato based sauce. There we go. Keep moving it around. And we'll just leave that doing its thing for a little while. probably, don't let it burn, but no more than sort of 10 minutes really, just to cook it up, and then we'll pour it all over here. Right, so there we are. That's ready just to pour into that. Get it all out. I'll get the rest of it in there in a little minute. And then just give it a very gentle just stir around so that it's getting in between the meatballs, but be careful you're not going to break up the meatballs, which I've just done. But there we go. I'm just going to get the final bits out of here. Don't want to waste anything. And this is when you can do your clearing up once it's in the oven. You're washing up and crack a tin of beer or something. I'm just going to use a bit of water in there just to get all of those bits of tomato out. Right, let's find the lid. There is the lid. There is the oven. It's not completely up to temp yet, but it doesn't really hurt. Ah. There we go, we're in. Set your timer. Hey Siri, set me a timer for 45 minutes.
45 minutes, starting now.
Thank you very much, very kind. There we go. Back in 45 minutes. Time to give it a little stir. We're about halfway through. I've had time to clear up the kitchen and put the washing on the line just in time for it to rain. And the clock has got it wrong. It is not fair. Right, let's have a little look. I'll put you down here a minute. This is looking good. Look at that. So I'll just get a little wooden spoon and gently just bring the meatballs up from the bottom and just stir it all around. Wow. That is looking fabulous. And smells great. Back in there. Put the leftover sausages into the oven as well, because that can be some snacks later. There we go. Back to you shortly. Right, the timer's gone off. There's the very old 1970s cooking book that this recipe is actually from, although I've changed a few bits and bobs on it to make it a little bit easier. Right, I'll put you down. Oh God, it smells fantastic. Wow. It really does. Right, I'm not going to stir it this time. So what we're going to do, well, I might give it a little stir actually. Just give it a little stir. What we're going to do now is 25 minutes with the lid off, and then that will crust all of this up nicely and it will be exceptionally tasty. So Siri, 25 minutes on the timer please.
25 minutes, starting now.
Marvellous. There's my sausages for later. Everything gets used up. leave it on the same temperature. It's back in the oven. Here we are. See you in 25 minutes. Well, here we go. That's it. Let's see what it looks like. Turn that off. Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely keep it at 160 all the way through the cooking process. And you can see, look, that is lovely. Absolutely lush. Then what you can do is when you take the lid off and put it back into the oven, chuck some spaghetti in a big pan with salted water, 20-25 minutes until it's nice and soft, and then you can dish it up straight away. There we go, meatballs. Fantastic. Right, got to keep you going over there in New Zealand, Charlie. Keep those tractors going. Hope the harvest goes well, and I'll see what I can come up with next. Love you. Bye.